So I asked around with my friends to see if I could get anybody to send me an unmastered track so I could try and see if I could apply some of what I learned at Ronan's mastering and recording retreat that we just did. And my buddy Jarrett Osborn sent me his wonderful track Mothra, and he sent me a reference track for it, the song Glory by Snail Mail. Just listen to a little bit of Mothra here, and then we can talk about some of what I've done and what he was trying to get to. So there's Jarrett, and what he was shooting for was something akin to this. So first and foremost, that's way louder. So what I'm going to do is I've got a limiter on here. I've done a whole bunch of processing, but I'm going to work backwards with the limited version so that at least we're closer in terms of volume, and then we can toggle between them. So. It's real. It's happening now without a So I'm immediately hearing some things that have me hearing some more darkness in what Jarrett has done versus her. So first thing I did was I pulled up BX Digital and using this in mid-side mode, and you'll see it's just cut crazy. This is what's happening to the mid part of the signal. This is what's happening to the side. I'm going to try and audition some things and let you hear some of what I listened for. But primarily, I was listening for things that were resonance or things that would cover things up. And this is going to be a bit subtle, but we'll see where that gets us. And let's see if it'll play along with me now. Silver screen. So there's a thump there. You can have wah, 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 wah on the bass. A little pong there on the snare. That's a spot in Jarrett's voice that just gets a little bit. And what was I hearing up high? And I'm not very good at hearing this stuff, so this just happens to be what I chose. And then also just... That one won't let me hear. Okay. So, on the mid side, or the mid part of the thing, there's a lot less in the middle here, or sorry, in the sides here. The guitars are out to the sides and some of the drums, but it's not a lot. It's just, it's subtle. And I'm hearing like a wash. There's a fizz. All right, so if I put them together, got this in. Out. So it's real. It's happening now without a help yourself. So, still, the other track's a lot brighter. But what I tried to do next was pay attention to the snare drum. And let's listen back to her snare drum. Make that kick and snare. Through that with the chambers all filled in a backup magazine. So get me high, your hotel without a can you get high? So the the snare has a different length on Jarrett's track. And so I pulled up Elise Envelope, which is a funny little tool that allows you to choose a particular signal and then decide if you want to play with the attack or the sustain on it. So I didn't, and so this is the attack side, and this is the sustain side. I didn't do anything on the sustain side, I don't think. Let's see. No, I left the sustain side alone. But then I came in on the attack side at 130, 138 or so. Let's see. Yeah, 135. All right, and just adding this in, the change is going to be, again, listen for the snare. Help yourself, you're Mothra, watching the world as it burns. Mothra, watching the world as it burns. Actually, I keep saying snare when I mean kick. So shorten the kick just a little bit, and it had some impact. Now I'm going to actually work out of order, and I did some bus compression here, just to kind of glue things together. So this is an SSL style compressor. It's doing about 4 dB of gain reduction. I'm recovering it back, and we get... It's real. It's happening now without a return. You can help yourself. You're Mothra, watching the world as it burns. Mothra, watching the world as it burns. All right, so that's good and all, but we're tonally different. So now I'm going to pull up where I made most of my moves, which was with FabFilter Pro Q3. Watch out, there's a lot going on here. All right, so I did some in the mid, and I did some across stereo, and I probably have done too much, but I will show you what's happened. Well, let's just take this out first for a second, and then put it in, and listen. So we'll start with snail mail. You're Mothra, watching the world as it burns. Mothra, watching the world as it burns. It's real. Alright, so let's talk about what's going on here. I did some dynamic bits on the kick because it had a little bit of a woof, woof, woof. Let's see. Let me get this here. Oops. Let's do that, otherwise we're going to have a problem. Let me get to a spot with the vocals. There's a big whoa, whoa, whoa going on there. And this might be overkill, but... there's still more going on there. So just kept pulling. And I only did that one in the middle because I'm trying to retain some of that sound for the sides for the guitar. Let me get back here. This one, I'll show you something else in just a second as to why that's there. That's in the middle only because I didn't want to take it out of the guitars, but... that's just fizzy. And then... here. I did a trick during the guitar solo where I did two things. I brought the sound level up, and this particular EQ move kicks in and brings it up so that it goes. Watching the world as it burns. Mothra, watching the world as it burns. Right, so the idea being there just to brighten the guitar. So I've done a bunch of EQ moves. And let's do some toggling now. Just turn the automation view back off. Let's shrink Miss Snail Mail back down. And we'll go. Yes, I did align the tracks so that the guitar solos were about the same spot on purpose. All right, so now that I've done that, I did a little trick here, and this is a version of something Ronan showed. This music cue, or muse cue, I don't know what they call it. This EQ allows me to throw something into mid-side mode and to unlink the mid and the side. And see these little screws here? Those are gains. So what I did is brought the sides up by dB. And I did that because it brings out the guitars a little bit. So you pick up some brightness out to the edges in a place that can handle it. And it's not a lot, but it's enough to bring some life to it. And when I did more than that, it was too much. Did another EQ move with the Mag EQ 4, which I used the airband set to 40K. It's a really long tail lift, and see, it's like that. And it barely impacts the high end, but it does impact the high end. So. Mothra, watching the world as it burns. Mothra, watching the world as it burns. All right, so one more trick, and this is borrowing again directly from Ronan. I threw some tape on here, and I just threw some tape on because, as he liked to say, it just sounds good. So I added some tape. Let's leave it out at first and then see where that gets us, which is this one. There's some extra punch that comes in and a little bit that plays on the high end and does some saturation. All right, so I did a couple of fun little tricks here. Let me see if I can get this to pull up. All right, so this is metric AB. And on the A side, I have Jarrett's track, and on the B side, I have Glory, and I have them playing. And they may not be totally aligned, but let's see. All right, so the blue is Jarrett, and look at the spectrum, and I'm going to start bringing the plugins in, and you're going to see where I was doing. I'm not mixing visually, but I was using it to find spots that I needed to find. Let me get to a better part of the song, which is like here. It's happening now without hope of return. You can't help yourself. Your Mothra, watching the world as it burns. So it's real. It's happening now without hope of return. You can't help yourself. Your Mothra, watching the world as it burns. Let me back that up to a different part of the song, and I'm also going to change this into, let's use third octaves and see what it does. And let's just go back to here. In a backup magazine, so it's real. Alright, so when I get really going, there's a bit more energy in 3K than she had in her song, but that's fine. That was a neat one to take a look at. Anyway, where we end up is, here we go. So, cool. How's that metering? Let me turn this thing off. Look at inside. This is fun. And we get. Yes, that's crazy loud. It absolutely is insanely loud, but they're the same. Limiter is set. Oops. As usual. Let me get back here. Now without overreturn, you can't help yourself. Your mouth will watching the world as it burns. All right, so I'm using a little bit of look ahead on this and a little bit of oversampling, but essentially I'm pushing the heck out of this, and I pushed the heck out of it because I wasn't trying to make a judgment on how it sounded. I was making a judgment on matching what the other track was. Okay, so if I open this in RX, what I get is some high peaks, but I'm getting a LUFS of 7.4, short trim of 5.8, 4.0 momentary. It's blowing out the top end, and it's basically leveled at 0.1. If I go and pull up Jarrett's, I'm sample peak at 0.1, RMS levels high, or put another way. Let me see if I can get this one open. Yeah, all right, there we go. So there you go. True peak level on Jarrett's is lower because this one blew out. Sample peak level is about the same. The max RMS is almost the same. The total RMS is very similar. The max momentary, Jarrett's is actually a little bit quieter or more dynamic. The max short term is about the same. The integrated is about the same. And the loudness range on the Snail Mail song, it's crushed. Now, I wouldn't master quite to this level, but I'm going to do something else where I do some comparisons in a minute with Streamliner, where I show you what happens to these songs when they're on various streaming services. Anyway, I think this came out pretty good. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's pretty good, and I think I've made a song that sounds similar for what Jarrett was after. I mean, if he wanted to sound like Snail Mail, then we did this. It's happening now without similar frequencies, similar loudness, similar approach to some things like lengths of kicks and snares, different performances, different songs, obviously. But this is what I learned when I went away to summer camp or winter camp or fall camp or whatever we want to call it. Like I said, I'll do some more stuff with this, and hopefully I'll edit this down so it's not just a rambling 20 minutes, which is what I think it is right now. If you guys have any more questions, hit me up, and we'll see what I can do to provide more clarity. I'll also link to the mastered version of the song I did for Jarrett in the description. Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.